Hello and welcome to the Dundee Show podcast. This is episode 10, which is a bit of a landmark for me because years ago when I got asked to start the first podcast in 2020 or 2021, whatever it was, somebody said to me that the hardest thing to do would get to 10 podcasts. And in that last one we got to 9. So this is the landmark one of the 10th podcast. And with a cancellation today, so I want to thank our guest first off for stepping in straight away. An incident happened today. Well, on this platform or on this podcast, what we like to do is tell interesting stories of people's lives, different stories and everything like that. And everybody knows the work that we are doing just now with the anti-knife work. So I think for the 10th podcast that we should be mentioning this sort of thing. So especially today, this was prompted when I was standing at a bus stop and a young lad called Nathan came up to me and said that I am every 13-year-old's worst nightmare just now. I was like, what do you mean? And he says, he started laughing and said they were trying to get metal detectors at Greenfield and everything because of me. And I said, well, that's not true because I haven't spoke to Greenfield, but I thought the idea was funny. And the guy that I asked to come in today, I would have to say is like my right-hand man in this. And I think he deserves his props, but whether he's helped me with it. When I started to try and go back into the community centres, everybody just said one name to me because there was only one person trying to do something else apart from me. And it's the guy sitting here today. So I'll introduce him. His name's Phillips. Hello, Kev.
Hello, Chris. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, bro. And as always, Steve Borland is here to brighten up the conversation.
We'll see.
So yeah, a long intro, but yeah, Kev works for the Fireys, and like you said, he's my right-hand man in this. He's a leader in the community. He's done a lot of good work. I'm just going to get about his life, and we're going to talk about the state of what's going on just now in the city. So yeah, I'd like to take it for the start, Kev. Where were you born?
Oh, well, I was born where I am now. I was born in McCraigie. I'm a mid-man, born and bred. A long time ago, early 60s, although I don't like to admit that. Usually when I'm speaking to young people now, I say I'm about 46 and I keep it that way. Don't let the old buggers in. That's true, isn't it? You keep that youthful... No, I'm not looking at you, right? Not looking at anywhere in particular. 1962.
Is that when you were born?
That's when I was born.
Well, I'm good for it.
Yeah, thank you. I like him already.
Well, random questions. You know what was number one in the charts when you were born?
Oh my God, yeah, I used to know. Oh God, probably somebody like Frank Sinatra or Engelbert. Engelbert.
We'll check. We should maybe do that for the start.
We should check
question,
that. Yeah. I used to know, but it's
60s is a great time for music.
Very good.
So where did you go to school then?
I started off at Mosgiel, and school was long gone. I think that was built just before I was born, maybe early 60s, late 50s. So I was born in Kerrystone Place, with the old tenements, and then we moved. I was there at about 69, and we moved into Lunlathen.
The theme just now is: did you have indoor plumbing at that? And,
yes,
you did.
Absolutely, of course we did. Cheesy peeps. My sister remembers all that because he used to live in the Pletties, down on the bottom of in Mid-Mill. So they used to live there, and she always used to tell stories where she would always have to check the pulley at night because there was always mice and baby mice and all that about the place. I thought, so thank God I never got into that kind of stuff. But yeah, Lunlathen till 69, over to Happy Hillock to phase 74 or whenever I moved out when I got married, bought a flat in Anfield Street, 5 years there, and then 5 years in Fintry. And then 30 odd years and back in the street I was born, albeit it's all the wimpy houses now.
So around about that area for all your life basically?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, when I started my job in the Fireys, most of my learning was done in the houses that I used to live around and live, because it was all kind of derelict. And the kids, I have to say, the kids were brilliant at that time because the council had obviously put on these big metal, windows, doors, were just metallised, nailed shut, whatever. And the kids could get into them, no bother. We could never get into them. They could get in there, set the fires, so we could never figure out how they got into them. Took us about half an hour to get into the damn things, before we could fight the fires. But kids are quite ingenious, aren't they?
Well, there's a will, there's a way, as they say, yeah.
You better believe it.
I'll take you just slightly back. See, when you were in like high school and stuff, to me, you remind me of a bit of a skinhead, a bit of like a ska guy. Was there any early trends?
Yeah. Well, I went to the Morgan. So when did I go to the Morgan? About 75. 75. So I was into it. Do you know what? I wasn't into all that kind of stuff. Into the ska and the mod and all that kind of thing. Early 80s when it was revival kind of stuff. You know, Bad Manners and all that, who I saw recently, and they were just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So I was into all that, but the late 70s, I think I was just an any type of music kind of guy. That's when the punk was coming out.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
And it never really, I liked some of it, Boomtown Rats, that kind of, the more populist type thing, but I was never really into the really, whoa, type of thing. Until maybe later on in life, when you look back, and you always think, when you look back, don't you, you look back and think, life was a lot better then, music was better and all this, and you start going over all the stuff that you knew was there but never really listened to, and now you listen to it, because it takes you right back. I liked all the rock and roll. I like any type of music.
Yeah, no, I think there's certain songs I can listen to, like, you just, as soon as you hear it just takes you back to that time of your life, you know what I mean, like, whatever era it was, or, for instance, Baba O'Reilly, that always reminds me of my first girlfriend, for whatever reason. Yeah.
I think the first one I really tuned into, the first song was probably the Beatles, kind of Beatles, like, songs, like, you know, because that was all the rage in late 60s, you know, middle 60s, late 60s, so you started picking up on the radio.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I remember. And I suppose that gives me my in to nip down to Liverpool every now and again and go, every pub you go to in Liverpool's got somebody strumming a guitar. It's just amazing place. I don't know if you've been.
Yeah, nah.
So I've got this kind of connection with Liverpool now, and I have no idea where it come from, but we'll love going down to Liverpool. But it's the music, because the music takes you back.
And the football?
The football, yeah, well, come on. You had an English team. Did you have an English team when you were young? What was your English team?
One.
Yeah, I'm a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, Liverpool. It was never Liverpool with me when I was younger. I kind of liked the weird ends like Derby County, and although it did have
but Derby County were big at that.
They were, Leeds and all that as well. I mean, if you look back, I mean, I do. So I'll go on these Facebook pages and I'll look back at the old games. Again, when they're playing, there's no blade of grass on that pitch.
Yeah.
They're covered in mud, or it's all snow, and it's brilliant to watch.
And Norman Hunt in front of you.
Just the way to say that, kicking the crap out of one another. That's amazing.
I love the Brian Clough stories that everybody's getting nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, well, there's Leeds stories and Nottingham Forest stories as well. Like, some of his stories are brilliant.
Yeah. I think, so was football better then? Is it better now? All the big money and all the players that fail over the world.
Probably the players haven't got the sort of. I mean, there's us talking about Franny Lee and Norman Hunter and the Leeds team. You know all these players. I can look at teams now down in England and don't even know who they are.
Yeah,
and there's no personality about them.
No,
it's like they've stole the magic out of football.
Yeah,
England, I would say.
I think
we've been saying that a lot in 20 minutes about how the championships more entertaining than the actual Premier League.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of watching Wrexham.
Yeah, we've gone about that as well. Yeah.
We've said it a couple of times. I wanted Millwall to come up. They seem to be dropping off just a wee bit now. But they were sitting second a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, well, they went on a great run. But the Wrexham, it could happen with Wrexham. Yeah. Southampton were crawled right back up.
Yeah. In fact, amazing game the other week there with Southampton and was it Wrexham? Was it 5? What was it? Who was playing Wrexham?
I think it was. The Wrexham have played a few games.
Yeah,
and
then Southampton.
5-4
yeah.
and stuff.
I thought they were brilliant.
See what the way I'm looking at it, right? See Southampton, they've been in the Premier League, like they go down, they come up, they've done it for ages. Like, see, for like a team like Millwall, they've not been in the Premier League. You know what I mean? Like a new fresh team like that coming up, it's more exciting. It brings more to the league. You know what I mean? And Southampton
new
just
fresh
coming
team
up again.
with nice fans and.
Well, you know what?
Nice travelling fans.
It's something, you know what I mean? It would spice up every London derby there is for a start. Like that's off the back of it, but they've never done it.
Interesting people arriving in your city.
You know what? Millwall's it's probably one of the most tourist stadiums in London for that element.
We've mentioned that when these interesting people came to the friendly at Dens, and the police must have said, who have you got as a friendly?
Was that 2007?
100 old baldy boys that turned up and Crombies and decided to run amok through the town, you know.
I tell you can never get a ticket for Liverpool. God knows I've tried.
You'll never get a ticket in the Cup. Never ever get a ticket in the Cup.
I've got into Man City and a few others like
that's the
Liverpool.
That's the way it's. Yeah, okay.
I went to the hospitality in Liverpool last year, right? And it was the PSG game and we got put out on penalties. And at the hospitality, it was like 5 to maybe 10,000 people in this like massive room. It was $3.50 a ticket, and then you obviously got a programme, you got free food and everything else.
Yeah.
But like this massive bit of like 5. This is the hospitality, you know what I mean? It was just weird. There was nothing like a football experience.
They've got a ticket for $1,500 at Liverpool, and it's hospitality, and it's a 3-course meal, your seat, and 1 drink. Where do you get? Where do they get that price? Where can you get that price? Because that seems to be the thing with all these English. Well, look, we're sitting here in a junior stadium, and North End do their hospitality for £35, and it's 5 drinks and a 2-course meal, 3-course meal, whatever, and you get the match. But then you go down to Liverpool, and it's $1,500 for the same.
Okay, no be any better.
Okay, so no, obviously the football's a lot better. But I mean, I've seen guys on YouTube going and doing these things.
It's about the day out as well, for
It's
about the day out as well.
It's experience as much as anything. If you've done the Liverpool tour, like it's quite an amazing tour going around the state. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, you know what? It goes on for about fucking 3 hours.
I know, but they're great.
I've won a lot.
But it's Scouse humour as well, and Scouse humour is like top notch, isn't it? I mean, I just love the Scouse humour. Just in they tell stories. That's what they do. They tell stories, and it's just brilliant. Just brilliant.
So we've sort of got sidetracked there. Let's start about what year did you start working for the Fireys?
92, so 34 years ago or something like that. Yeah. So I left school, 79. I joined the Marines.
You're in the Marines?
Hey, whoa, no, you couldn't really say that. I was destined to go in the Navy. I want to go in the Navy, right? So at 16, you're thinking, oh yeah, great, because I was in the cadets, the sea cadets, like for about 12 or something like that, and I wanted to go in the Navy. And for some strange reason, I'd seen this poster of sort of a Marine speaking to some scout boy on the bow of a ship or something like that, and I thought, oh, it's tidy, like that wee green lid type of thing. I could maybe do that. Never really thought it through, did I? I think I lasted about 5 months or something like that. It took us, in those days, you got 9-month training, second opt-out. I thought, yeah, this is no for me. I just was too young, too mature, and just not prepared for it. Like an amazing thing, like. But even in that short time I was there, though, I have to say, a lot of it stuck with me. I learnt a lot.
Serious discipline.
You know what I mean? Oh, absolutely. But mainly all physical. Like, it's just fizz all the time, like, you know. And cheesy peep. And they're relentless. I mean, I always remember you get 2 sets of kit, right? Fizz kit, gym kit, right? So I think then it was like a yellow rugby top and white shorts, and you got white sand shoes. Came out really great, and then you go through them. And there was a green one as well, but they were really good because you would get it in the morning, and what you had on had to be spotless, like sharp creases, and that's your gym kit, everything, like, you know.
And you'd been trudging through the mud.
Yeah, in the morning, and then you go back, get your lunch and all that, and then suddenly they'll say, right, wear the same stuff you were wearing this morning, but make sure it's spotless. It's covered in mud, like. So you don't like that, clean out, right? And that's no happening, is it? So then they punish you. But this is just part of the game, isn't it? You know. So you then have to go over. So they've got like ropes that you do regains on, that you come off of it and go on it. But underneath it is like a tank full of stinking water, green water, like, you know. So they just make you swim from one side to the other. Then you go and do your fizz and all that as well. You're building your character. It's an amazing thing.
Very character building.
If you know it's a game and you can achieve it, but it's definitely. I think they advertise it as a state of mind. Absolutely.
It's also so that they know that if you're in a state of war, they can rely on you to do anything.
Yeah, you've got 15 guys. They'll all go and get to that spot, and there's no like 2 of them getting there, and the rest of them are behind. Like that. That's the main thing. But an amazing thing. So I come out of there, and I joined Willie Lowe's. So Willie Lowe's. Who remember? You remember?
Yeah,
Willie Lowe's.
I know what Willie Lowe's
was. Yeah, you remember. Yeah. You've got to remember Willie Lowe's. Yeah.
So Willie Lowe's is the steal from in Trainspotting in Edinburgh. What is?
I can't remember what it was.
That big shop. I'm sure it was Willie Lowe's, or what was the other one?
Possibly.
It was a Willie Lowe's in mess scheme in the ferry.
Was that?
Yeah. Oh, you're scheming the ferry.
I might be talking shit.
Yeah, right.
I thought it was something.
Nice scheme in the ferry. Okay. Barnhill, I was in that for a couple of years. There was one in the ferry, but it was Perth Road. They were opening up one up Perth Road. And somebody that knew my sister, blah, 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 we'll go and have a go in there and stay in there for until you get another job or something like that. So 13 years later, deputy manager of the Pickera Road Superstore, doing along fine, like, but at that point they were kind of taking over other places as well. I wasn't sure if I wanted to stay, but I was enjoying it. But the higher I kind of got, the less I enjoyed it. I have to say that, absolutely. High. It comes about money and this rather than people. I am a people person, so I kind of started trying to figure it. And it was a bloke called Miles. He was a retired prison officer. And he come in, he took a wee job in, well, it was a given wee job, but it was just like clearing up the trolleys and all that, keep them active and all that. Just a wonderful guy. And he come in one day and said, you seen the advert? Kev, seen the advert? What? So it's fit to be a firefighter. I just laughed. I don't want to be a fiery. Why would I want to be a fiery? No. But he persevered. And he just, whether he saw some, I don't know, can. And I thought, do you know what? Might as well give it a go, Give it a go. So, put in the application form, went down, did a few tests and all that, and you did the physical test, you did this, you did that, and all that. And it came to the big interview with the at that time the firemaster and then his two minions type of thing, like, the big panel. And I was suited and booted, ready to go. It was batting down the rain. I was living in Fintry. Anne was my wife then. God, I hope she's not listening to this. Down she was. So she did the car or something. So it's batting down the rain. It's about 8:30. I'm due there at 9. I'm not going. Can't be bothered. Why do I want to be a fiery? I'll give it a go. What? I'm here.
So
I'm dressed up.
You questioned that right before you
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So I'll just go down and see what happens. So phoned a taxi, got down there. I hope nobody's listening to the Fireys. I got down there about 9:15. They'll be long gone. 9:15, and even the guys that were doing the interview were late, because when I say battering down, it was like battering down, like biblical. Like, nothing was moving in Dundee. So, I just got out the taxi, got to the front door of Blackie, and I was like soaking. So, fair enough, I'm here now, so waiting, hanging about. And then I go in. Now, I must have been kind of relaxed. I couldn't really, I came up, they're not going to give me a job now, it was late and blah, 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 but we'll go through the motions, like. And the only question I can remember them asking is, how do you feel about working with women? Because at that time there was probably one female in the Fireys, and that's the only question I can remember them asking. Now, I'd worked in Willow's full of women. I'd been working for years with women, like, and what's the problem? And that's the problem. They're brilliant people, like, I kind of like them a wee bit, and it's just weird. Yeah, that's the one question I remember. And then I walked out the door. I said, "Thank you very much," blah 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 blah, and got a letter saying you're accepted for the Fireys.
But there was, what we're saying earlier on, mate Steve that you know that he worked in the Fireys, and I remember at that time, and it must have been around about 90, 91 maybe he was in, or late 89.
He was late, probably 90 or something like that. I was 92.
So I remember when he went in, it would have been the same for you. It was quite militaristic at that point. Now you've already said something. You'd done a bit of the Marines type thing. Yeah. So I remember him going on about the training, and it was about 16 weeks or 17 weeks, and it was quite military. It was up in the and it completely changed a few years later, and it dropped down to about 12 weeks, and all the
gone. And you see the difference.
Yeah, exactly.
I was 16 weeks. It was actually probably longer than that, because we ended up having 3 weeks off.
Square bash
the Gulf and the Gulf, which was fine, like, but when I went back after 3 weeks, I thought, holy sugar, what am I whacked? Oh, God. Used to hate it, right? Yeah. Because we used to get in the van on a Monday morning, and we had to be there for Monday lunchtime. This was doing Gullin.
Yeah.
Gullin, doing past Edinburgh. And the boy that drove us down there, it was a van marked Tayside Fire Brigade at the time. I swear to God, I used to sit in the back of the van and read the Courier all the way. I read that Courier. He was the worst driver on the planet, and he had these like milk bottle glasses. And when there was a queue, he would go down the hard shoulder, just no. We were like that. Come on, no. Tayside Fire Brigade on it, like, where's the cops and all that? He just never cared. He actually went and got a job with Muffet and Williamson, so driven buses after that. Like, so holy shit, what the heck? I never ever got on a Muffet and Wilson bus at that point. After that, like
You said the story at the start that was quite a sad story, but I think it gives an insight into how hard the job could be.
Oh, right, because you were mentioning it as well. Because Stevie was there. He was in BA, which is breathing apparatus. So that was probably one of my. It was the first sort of like. Kind of casualty death that I'd come across, and it was a 6-year-old girl.
So what age were you at this time?
I would have been, because I joined the Fireys late, about 28, 29, so I was probably 30, 29, somewhere around there. Can't quite remember the year, but it was most definitely my first fatality, and I was at the Kingsway at the time, so this was roughly half. It was in Kirkton, so it was a 3-pumper. It was persons reported, so we'd come up to back up McAlpine Road, the two for there. And as soon as we got, I mean, it was out the windies and all that as well. The guys had just put a ladder up to the window, and somebody shouted, "Get a short extension." So I ran back, a short extension ladder. The stairs had burnt away. The house had all the doors off of it, and it was being done up type of thing, like, etc. So I got that. I could just about see him. I just saw this hand grabbing it, and it went, like, and I just turned around, and they were bringing the fatality down, which was a 6-year-old girl, down the ladders. And I remember old Freddie Thompson, and a brilliant fiery, wonderful guy, long gone. He was working on until the ambulance came along. Paramedics just picked her up, got her into the back of the ambulance, and away they went, like, And it was probably, things had died down, like fires knocked out, this blah, 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 blah. We're going around the house, making sure there's no hot spots and things like that. And I came out, and I kind of noticed that the older hands, right, they were kind of just plodding on and looking and keeping an eye on us, things like that as well. But never thought anything of it, per se. And then Dennis, what was in the station officer at that point, Dennis Webster, another wonderful, wonderful guy. Well, the stories around Dennis, just brilliant. He's a brilliant guy. He was in charge, and he came over and put his hand over my shoulder and said, "Kev, you okay?" I just burst out in tears. Couldn't have stopped myself. And I probably needed that.
Yeah, it's like when somebody asks you, and you
just
break.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing about the Fireys. You look after one another.
Well, it was my mate Steve. It was one of the ones that went into the building to get her out, and I met him the next day. And Steve was always hard to read for me when it came to that, because he did see some. He didn't see loads of terror, but he did see some, and that was one of them, and that was the first one I bumped into him, and he'd been badly burnt because the heat was that much in there, and he was burnt on the back of the neck, and he had the big burn blister on the back of his neck at that time. But I see you're saying about the emotion. You couldn't. Steve was hard to read that way, and I remember that at that point you would have got, if you needed help, you would have got. Help counsellors and all that stuff.
At that time, you probably didn't get so much. I till later.
I seem to remember him saying he could have, but he didn't.
No,
that was it. Yeah.
What I find so thinking about it is, obviously this was the first thing, the fatality you've seen, but you can always detail to like what happened. You know what I mean? It's imprinted on your brain.
It's always there.
Yeah.
I mean, all the things that you see. I mean, anyone in the emergency services, paramedics see it practically daily half the time. Like, we're not as unfortunate as that, shall we say. And the police, I mean, traffic cops and all that as well, they see some terrible things. In fact, if you want to quickly go on about road traffic collisions and all that, the weirdest thing with me, if I was driving to a road traffic collision, my leg would shake.
Because you didn't know what you were going
leg
to see.
would shake. I don't know why. I was always of the opinion, if I didn't need to go and see whatever was underneath someone over something, then that was fine. If I had to deal with it as part of my role in that operation or whatever, then yeah. But I was driving or doing something else, I'm not putting myself through that, because it's all, like you say, it's all locked in there.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where you keep it. You'll always remember it now and again, but you never let it get on.
Well, you're the one, me Steve going on about it as well, down at Claypots, and the guys were in a work van, and the truck was going along, and the truck fell on the side of him, and it fell.
That was a blue watch at the Kingsway.
Yeah,
because
he was there as well.
Yeah,
and the boys were flattened.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a horrific one. That was.
It's not like the all horrific stories. Like in these services, is there any way, like I don't even want to use this word, but to desensitize what you're saying, like, or is it just like
we kind of, have you heard the term black humour kind of
Yeah.
thing? It's not as bad as you think it is, like, you know, but say for instance, if we go to something and it's pretty bad, or, you know, we'll go back to the station and we'll have a cup of tea and we'll sit and we'll just blether. And whatever you do, if there's any issues, anything, you've taken somebody to a car or a fire, whatever it is, you always reflect on what you've done. So did I do that right? Did I get, you know,
always
were
questioning?
you just question, but you always have to come to the conclusion in the end that you did the best you could.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or drive you mad otherwise. So you kind of sit and you look around at one another. And as I mentioned to you earlier, the older hands. So as you get more experience, you look at the newer ones. I could say, I suppose you get older, the younger ones, but certainly the newer ones and all as well. And you look to see how they're coping with it. And you bring the conversation out of where we were into other things. So you might talk about football. You know, if you want to laugh, you'll talk about United. You'll bring humour into it. Dundee United, by the way. You'll bring humour into it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then you try to ease everyone. And then next time you come on shift, how are you doing? What's going on? Blah blah. What were you up to the day? You don't want to focus on it. Like, you know, I used to coordinate a thing called Safe Drive Stay Alive. Anybody go to that here? Anybody young enough?
I know what it is. The conversations with you many a time. Yeah.
Safe Drive Stay Alive. So we used to take a show into 3 places: Reedhall and Forfar, Cairnhall and Dundee, and someplace in Perth. It ended up in the new big school at the back. Can't remember what it's called now. Starts with B, whatever it is. And how is it? I've lost the thread of what I was saying there with the Safe Drive Stay Alive. Where was I with that?
Where would that come into? I've never heard of it.
Oh,
so
yeah, right. I get. Well,
yeah,
have you not? You're too old. You're too old.
yeah, it's that.
It was a show based on. We had a film, and then through that film, we had real people come on. So you had the co-op, you had the fiery, you had the A&E nurse, surgeon, that kind of thing coming on. And I always remember we were doing it in my cadet unit, doing it at the docks, and we would go through it. We would just have practice each year before we went on the road again. Bear in mind, this was all for 5th year, so every 5th year across Tayside you got this show. College guys, everything. So we just needed to go over it. Sometimes I would change the film. You got different films and all that blather about what we're going to say. They related what they'd done on that film, which was not real as such, but they were playing the part of the cop on the film or something. But then they related their own stories as well. We were at the cadet unit, and Cookie, fantastic guy, traffic cop, he got turned out to an accident in Blairgowrie. And it happened to be a very bad accident with children and all that as well. The next year, the family helped out on the show. They actually went on to the show. Mum went on to the show and said it. And it was incredibly emotional. That's what the whole show was really about. It was about building the kids up. So we would start off with a big dance and a mosh pit or whatever the heck you called it in those days, like, you know. And then some of the guys would come on and all that. So you built them up. They're all excited. Blah 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 blah. And then you hand them the little glow sticks. Now you hand them the glow sticks when they're sitting down, and you say that, please, kind of the volunteers, don't hand it to them when they're walking about, because they just bloody get lobbed. Kids being kids. So we had so many yellow ones for serious road casualties in Tayside that were life-changing, and red ones for deaths in Tayside. Biggest killers of young girls is young male drivers. Was then, is now. If you pick up a paper, read the news on a Monday or a Tuesday, there's always some young people wiping themselves out in a car across the country. It's just mad, absolutely mad. And that's what that was all about. And to go back to Steve, he actually left the job as a traffic cop because of what he'd seen. Really? He just thought, really, he just didn't need to see any more. Mm-hmm. You know, so hat off to traffic cops and all that as well. Like, you know, we don't see as much of it as what they do or the paramedics do. But when we do see it, we tend to be in the sharp end. We're pulling the bits and pieces out and all that as well. And it's No nice, believe me. It's
no,
no nice. But you don't think about that when you're joining the Fireys.
This is why I asked the question, because it is something that a lot of people don't think about. It's something that, like, trauma is something that, like, has been brought to my attention a great deal the past year. So if you're angry at something, when there's two sides to every story, I find nowadays. So like to get both sides is always a good start. But yeah, on the fact of trauma, it's not spoke about greatly, and especially with everything that we're seeing in this city and everything that's been going on, there's been some diabolical things happening in the past couple of years. And yeah, I don't think it does get spoke about. I think these stories are powerful. I think it will make people think, you know what I mean? And like, I don't know. One thing you were mentioning positive influences that you had within the fire forces, within the Fireys, and this is how, like, a support network without even doing it.
Yeah.
And you said, like, what I took on board as the older ones, you know what I mean, or people more senior on the role, but they're looking out for the new recruits and that. It's positive influence, you know what I mean. It's something that me and you have been trying to push through from the council for a while now.
Oh yeah.
But it roots all back to this, does it?
Oh, absolutely, without doubt. I mean, when we were thinking back to when we were young, there was, like, say, I had. So my youth group was the Sea Cadets, and there was also a hub, a community centre. Basically, I could see it. It's where the Midland Daycare Centre is now. That was at that point the hub. So you would go down there, and you would go in there, and they have the music. Hey, we go music blaring and all that as well, and that's where I picked up the music. That kind of thing as well, you know. And you get your bottle of cola or whatever it was and your bag of sweeties or something, 9-year-old, whatever it was, toddle off back home again. But you're seeing lots of things. You're seeing good things, you know. You've got what I would have said was I would had good, stable family upbringing. Now, I know things have changed because we're more talking about blended families and all that as well, you know. And some of my kids are in blended families. You know, I've got 9 grandchildren now. Like, you know, so flipping heck, I really don't look it, do I?
No, you're looking great.
Thank you very much. With 9 grandchildren, how the hell looks it good? That's what I want to know. So it
Just start a band.
Funny enough, my youngest son bought me a guitar about 3 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Right now, I smashed my finger on a lock, so I'm okay now to start it, and it's no easy, believe you me.
And you're now like McCartney 3 weeks ago.
Absolutely, it doesn't.
I was thinking Joe
How
Jackson.
easy is it? How easy is it? No. Well, my aim is to be able to strum along when I'm 64 at the end of the year.
Right, yeah.
So that is what my goal is. Like, you know, my wee aim.
You're never 64.
Thank you very much. No, yet. 46. We got it the wrong way around there. Thank you very much. But it's having an aim, and it's having support to achieve your aim. And if you've got aims, you can branch out lots of different ways. But if you've just got aim, I think it's harder for kids now.
Did you not find say like the year going on about you were in the Sea Cadets, right?
Yeah.
No. I don't think Chris is at that age where Declan would probably never seen it. When we were at the school, right, there was always discos for each school.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So me coming through the ferry, right? So we went
the
to
scheme.
We
ferry
went
scheme. Yeah.
We went to St.
Oh, he didn't have toilets still. What was it? 82 or something.
What?
81.
He went at the house of the
No, that's it.
Very good.
Just to the toilet on the stair. So what? Up until 13-year-old, you went on a Saturday. You had St. Luke's and it was a disco, right? So all the kids went that up to 13 went there, and when you got to 13 upwards, it was St. Aidan's. Yeah. Now I think that was happening all over.
Yeah,
I think that was, and there's nothing like that now.
There isn't.
Nothing.
No, I've
nowhere
got,
to go.
I've got Beryl, who's in my community group, Linlathen and McCraigie, friends of Linlathen and McCraigie. She's always banging on about let's bring back the disco. Let's bring. Yeah. Disco might be not the right word, exactly, whatever they call it these days. But somewhere where kids go and just let off steam and have a jump about. And
you've still got the scout. My son's in the scouts. Yeah, he's been in right through. You've still got the scouts. You've still got the cubs. You've still got. I don't know about the BBs, but it was all that.
Yeah, that's all good.
And there was always something. There was always something for the kids to do.
Everybody was generally in something. And what you find now is if you talk to maybe parents, the first thing they'll say is, "There's nothing for the bairns to do around here." Well, is there no? Because they're going out there and setting fires. They seem to be quite happy doing that. Would you not like to try and stop them and divert them onto something else, please? That might be a good start. You've got a free bus pass, which is not really free, is it? We pay for that, but let's not go there. I'm not getting on that soapbox.
But the bus passes are blasphemy. Yeah.
Hey, let's have a bus pass and go around and smash other bus shelters. That's a brilliant thing to do. Who can what? If only I was young again, eh? If only I was young again. Actually, we actually did a wee thing to try and stop that, and because they were also chucking stones through bus windows, and the bus company, which McGill's now, they gave us a bus and a window to smash and all that as well, and they got kids do that for the Rocky at that point. That was a great wee film. Just remembered about that. Yeah, I like making wee films.
Here's another thing that Steve told me, and I couldn't believe it. It's when, obviously, when you went out to fight on Bonfire night, right?
Geez,
so obviously, if it rained, you loved it, right? Right? But if it was dry, you knew fine what you were going to get, and you would attack the fireys.
Oh God, yeah.
That still happens now, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That still
Definitely.
happens
I've even had a bow and arrow aimed at me. Like I had a rocket or whatever fired. I was driving along the road and blue lights, and it hit the window and all that. It's good fun. Stabbing knives, even then. Like sometimes knives, kitchen knives at that point. Like they were just trying to rip the hose because they didn't want their fires put out, and they would jump on the back of the appliance, the fire engine, because we used to have the sort of like the static ladder bit on the back.
Yeah.
We used to put stuff on the roof. Hell, that's dangerous for fireys now. We didn't go on the roof. So cheesy peeps. So that's all gone. But you used to have to walk about half a bloody mile in the back of the fire engine before we get in it, because the kids would run after you trying to jump on the fire engine and all that as well. Great days. But then, in the old days, you would go in at about 10 to 6. Your shift started at 6. You're on Bonfire night. And that was, you were never in the station until about 1, 2 in the morning. Never, you were all over Dundee.
I always remember Steve saying to me, the best thing was, it's going to be raining tomorrow night. And it's great.
Please God, let it rain. Good old days.
One last one before we start to talk about the knife epidemic. Have we got any heroic stories for the fireys that you would like to mention?
Any
heroic stories or anything you're proud of doing?
Oh, no.
Any life saved?
Dunkin's Donuts in time and that, you know. Get the siren on right down to Dunkin' Donuts. Coffee.
Heroic stories. No, this is not America. Good God, we're a team. Your crew's a team, right? So when we deploy. We know what we're doing. We've got a BA team, the ladder. We've got all that.
It's all strategically planned.
Well, you have a good idea of what you're going to. So we still have these old printers that we've had for years and years and years. Old stuff's the best, isn't it? Us old stuff's the best.
What's up?
Yep. You rip it, and then there it goes. Tells you where you're going, and you go. So your OIC, person in charge, is formulating a plan. We're thinking, or if you're driving, you're trying to think of where the hell you're going and things like that. You know, there's the odd time we say, "What's that again?" And everybody says, "Tell Melissa's dinna can, dinna ugly." You know, but that's just the way of the world. So you've got a good idea of what you're doing when you get there. You know, in BA or whatever it is, smash the door in or break somebody's hand that I did once. Like, he stupidly put his hand on the handle, put it down. I couldn't see quite the door light, so it's all right. Kick it in, Kev. Okay. That's my finger's broken. Okay, let's get in there. Come on. That was heroic. He went to that fire with a broken finger.
Do you want to name him?
No. Well, his name was Graham, and he did well for himself in the fire. He's like, he's no longer into
old 9-fingered Graham.
Oh, he did well. In fact, if you do something stupid, you always get promoted, don't you? Yeah, or am I just jealous? Should have done something stupid. Jeez, peeps. No, there's like the thing about the fireys is we just get on with it. I mean, there's heroics is you just see what's needing done and you crack on and you do it, like, you know. But you're always looking after yourself, looking after your oppos.
You must have done all right doing that, because am I right in saying the last fiery to die in Dundee was a guy down at the docks? Was that true?
No, that was Nick Nicholson, who was in Perth, and that was about 96. Was it 96? In fact, I'm sure the anniversary was just recently. They had a wee do for him in Perth, and that was in a great. Now that was in the silo.
That was in the silo.
That's heroic. Nick Nicholson had went into silo. I'm probably not going to get the story completely right, but these guys were trapped in a grain silo. He'd went in and he went in with a line on, a rope on, just in case, you know, and then got one guy out, and it was starting to shift. The boy was, so he took his line off, put it around him so they could haul him out, and just at that time the whole thing shifted. He went down under, and basically couldn't breathe in that, obviously.
Well, that's heroic, man.
I thought it was
That's brave. That's heroic.
I remember. I thought it was a carbon monoxide, but you got suffocated with the beginning, didn't you?
Definitely heroic. Like, you know, So no. You've done the odd things like.
Well, I know some. Like, you'll maybe be some modest about it, but I know some pretty heroic things you've done, and that's the work you do with children, essentially. The time I've seen what you like with the kids. I know the time, the effort you put in, and how they actually respect you, which is a massive thing, to be honest with you. Like, because there's not a lot of respect kicking about, especially where kids are involved. But yeah, because you put the time in, and you've got your way with them. You know what I mean? So I've seen it firsthand. So like, it's hard to describe what I've seen, but I know that because I know like the care and attention you put into it. But not a lot of people do that.
See, I couldn't describe what I do. I just do it.
Yeah.
You know, and working with a private. So, did anybody here ever think about what job you might have liked to have done, but never got the chance to do, or maybe you thought maybe I should have went? I would love to have been a primary school teacher. Yeah, and I come to that realisation maybe 10 years. I would love to have been a primary.
Mine was
school
astronaut.
Teacher. Astronaut, yeah, I could see that.
Radio DJ.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Yeah, but you still got plenty of time to do that.
I would have done like tunes on the podcast if I got away with it, but then I get away with it. So
of course, yeah, right enough.
I always forgot to make my playlist for 20 minutes as well. Everybody's just forgot about that.
No, I think when we're talking about working with young people, young kids and all that as well, I think what is kind of important is to realise it's a human being in front of you, but you have to lead them. Right? These days we talk about, I think it's child-centred or child-led learning and things like that. So, you know, you put 5 tins of paint in the middle of that and you've got a group of 6 or 7 years and say, right, what are you going to do with it? Well, you know what they're going to do with it. They're going to recolour your walls, aren't they? Let's say, or your floor. You know, so rather than sitting there, right, we'll get some paper and we'll try and follow this line with a brush and you know, teaching them. You know, it's different now. And I think that's where we're going wrong. So basically, it's all I do is like I just explain and then crack on. I'll explain it, demonstrate it, you do it, we'll walk through it, and then build up from there. And they love it because they're out of their what I would term natural environment of the school. I think we've all got our opinions of what school is now. Got nothing to do with the teachers who are the salt earth as well, wonderful people. But it's got its issues, isn't it? And we see a lot of young people who they're just wandering around the corridors and everything, and they're not really achieving much. I was actually working with 2 young people today. I was up at one of the schools in Ardler, St Fergus, and we had, I don't know if I can name them. Lucas and Cheryl, Lucas and Eliana, wonderful young people. Like you know, they find it hard at school, but I think the thing is if they're coming with me, they're going to school and finish maybe doing their grades in maths or English and things like that, so bits and pieces, and they're both going to go on to the uniform services at the college as well, their college course. So, and Eliana, I think, would be an amazing fit for joining the forces in Navy or something like that. She doesn't see it, but she does. Her sister's got a really good story. She's 25, 26, lives down Manchester way. And probably about 6 or 7 years ago, she was having issues, you know, and so she spoke to someone, and that someone said, try fishing. And she kind of laughed. Fishing? You having a laugh? She's now down in Manchester and she teaches like Luke Littler and all these kinds of people fishing. She's having a ball. So it just shows that sometimes you'll come across someone who might just throw in a curveball and you think, what?
It's like you with the Fireys.
Yeah. Well, if you can change someone's thought process, you might never know it, but if you could change someone, you change the world. Yeah. You really do. You know, and they'll then affect other people's as well. And it's just about keep your nose clean, do the best you can. You do not need to be coming out of school with 101 different qualifications, right? And you're not a failure if you don't. If you come out with nothing, you're not a failure. No way I damn well hate anyone saying, if anyone says to young people, you'll fail in life if you didn't do well at school.
We were told that.
Baloney.
Yeah.
I left school without any
Yeah.
qualifications.
We were told that at that time because it was a different way of seeing things.
Yes.
We were told it as well. I think
Yeah.
the California Scheming film coming out, Billy's film.
Brilliant film. Saw it the other night.
Yeah, I think it's a great description of what this place used to be like. We were told we couldn't do anything, like not to believe in it, and it smashed it for my generation because The View came through and showed that you could. That was like massive for us. I've mentioned this loads of times, but I think that narrative is sort of smashed now a wee bit. Like, people can dream in Dundee and stuff.
Well, I was told they couldn't be an astronaut. I've floated about for years of it. No bother.
But it's like, it's really important that. It's really important because like, even like they go on to further education, because I was kicked out of school, and I say for like 15 years of my life I just thought about doing loads of stuff that I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to find out what I wanted to do. Like, I
always remember it, in fact, as being in the secrets. That's kind of where my kind of role models were. The one at school, nobody really bothered with me at school. I was never a bad kid. I turned up, I did my best and went home, and I got the opportunity to leave early school at Christmas because of my age to go and join the Marines, and I thought, well, might as well. You know, it was no for other reason, I might as well. So I left school, I had a couple of months, holy crap, I had a couple of months on the brew before I joined the Marines, right? My mother said, well, you'll be signing on. I didn't have a clue what that was, 16. So it was a case of, you're signing on, right? So what you're doing on whatever day it was, you get on the bus, what was it, 17, went for Happy Hillock Road, it went, and you said, where is it? It was going Edward Street, that was the brew, signing on at the brew, Edward Street. He said, you'll ken when to get off. Everybody else gets off. Because the bus has just come from Whitfield and all that as well. I swear to God, that bus emptied up the road for the stop just before Edward Street. I followed everybody down, went in there. It was the most disgusting, stinking place I've ever been in my life. At 16, and I've never know worked since.
Well, I'm glad you've said that about the getting the 16, because for me, for a long time, the schooling's completely different now.
Aye.
Totally different.
Oh yeah,
but when we were kids, you were judged on what you did before you were 16, and then you were told that so you were a failure if you didn't pass exams and all the rest of it. And then you look at the American system, where they go right through school and right up to, they could be 30-year-old and they could be still at college and university. Now we're judged on a 15-year-old and a 14-year-old, and that's your life. You're told that's it. What a load of nonsense.
I'm absolutely adamant that if you're 14, 15, 16 and then you're no interested in, you just need to look at Chris. Like,
exactly.
Success he's made. You may well go back to education if that's what you want to do as you're later on. I did, because I kind of had something to prove to myself. Yes, and I think a lot of education should come through vocational training as well, within jobs and all that as well. This crap about going to university, trying to get 50% of the population through university, what a load of baloney. You're getting people, like you say, still at university, changing courses, 30, 31, 32. Come on, get a job, mate.
When we were going to school, they never taught you Scottish history, they taught you Russian history. I wasn't interested in Russian history, I would rather know about Scotland.
French.
Why?
Why am I learning algebra? They probably still say that now.
A lot of the stuff you didn't pass exams because you were bored.
Right, the date is off topic. I'm going to pickle your brain with this, Kev. Why do you think that knives have become more of a assault culture in Dundee with the youth?
I think for one respect, they're probably feeling a little bit vulnerable. A lot of kids will be vulnerable as well. We can look at the drug culture and all this kind of thing as well, but there's also vulnerability. Plus, you've got the social media. There was one. I used to work. I kind of still do, but there was a school that I was working in, a primary school, and one young lad who had, might have been ADHD or something like that. And he decided to go into the kitchen drawer one day and take a knife into school. No idea why he took the knife. He just took the knife into school. Why are you picking up a knife? Why is it? Where did you see this? What gives you that thought process? It's just like antisocial behaviour is antisocial behaviour. So my remit is really to reduce fire-related antisocial behaviour. But antisocial behaviour, if you're setting a fire, you're smashing this, you're doing that, you're kicking in a bush. It's all much the same, So I think there's a vulnerability with young people as well. They think, how do I protect myself when I'm out there? Because we're seeing that young lad that, you know, when we met in the town in the square, getting a kick in for a whole group of guys. And that's kind of that's been going on for quite some time. In our time, it was gangs and all that as well, and they'd have 300 laddies on one side of Finland Park and 350 shams on the other, chucking stones at one another. And you think, what are you doing that for? Like, why are you doing that? It's a lot more serious now. And
it was less prevalent with the gangs with knives.
It was
Well, actually, like, this is what I'm finding through the research. In the 60s and 70s, Dundee, like, there was a lot of stabbings.
There was razor gangs and stuff going about Dundee.
I don't really know too
60s.
much about the 80s, not heard too much, but when I was kicking about from the 90s to the early 90s, we did not care. That was not a care in our head, people carrying weapons.
No, 80s, no, definitely
No,
not.
it's obviously different for different generations, so
yeah.
I can only say it for like my point of view. But yeah, the way we're seeing it just now, and like I said at the start about when that guy said, I've got so many 13-year-olds, like I'm their worst nightmare. Like, how many 13-year-olds is he talking about? And why are they talking and they're all scared about because what I'm saying is getting like stuff changed? Yeah. Like how like...
But you are making changes.
This is.
Yeah, you are making changes. If you're going on there and you're trying to stop kids going to a park and all that, we know they're going to Camperdown Park, and we know police resources are limited. That's one of the crying shames as well, isn't it? You know, there's no money anywhere.
There's a video. The Downfield police community team came to see me last week, and we were speaking about the Camperdown incident. And there's a video from the week before that a Dundee news source decided to try and share. But it was one police guy trying to split up, I don't know, it looked like hundreds of kids. And it was one guy in his own, like, what is he meant to do?
You can't do anything.
Exactly, and he was still gave the guys due, right? He was still trying to stop the fight.
Yeah,
he was, but he was on his own.
Yeah. And again, that's a breakdown in respect between, you know, the law, the police, and all that. And, you know, when they used to smash things in with the fireys, I think fireys are more respected for some strange reason, like, you know. But the police have got a really hard time of it, like, you know. And yeah, again, wonderful people, work with them quite a lot, and really. Individually, they want to do the business, they want to do the job, they want to support young people, they don't want these things happen. But I think they're kind of let down from higher above, and money wise, and I mean like governments either side. You know, it just you could pick up a paper, you could read the story, and at the end of it, a government spokesman says basically a lot of crap. We're investing so much money in this, that and other. And you go to the grassroots, down at the bottom where the cops are, at the coalface. No, they're not. Because there needs to be at least double of them. Remember the first and only time I was in trouble with the cops. I was sitting in, I was doing Pickera Road, and it used to be a Sally Army place. I think it's a Bible Baptist church now. And there was a little bit on the corner, railing down. Long grass, it's never used for anything. We used to play sojies in there or something like that. You know what I mean? I was 25 at the time, I'm not real. But I used to play in there. And the local bobby was coming up on a bike, pushing the bike up the road. And you scarper, holy crap, it's the bobbies. Yeah, away. Well, you know, I tried to go over the railings, like, caught me, and jumped back in again, hiding in the grass. And he went, oi, come here, you. So you go over, like you said, come back in here again, and we're in to see your mother. And that's not just a story that you hear. And that actually happened. That was the one and only time I got into trouble for the cops. Really?
I can't say that. I've been in trouble loads of times. What about the influence you think crack cocaine is on the city? I ask these questions to get your opinion because a lot of people try and make out that I am speaking nonsense and trying to promote ourselves and to sell clothes, basically. That's been through from some nasty groups. So I'm very interested to hear it for your opinion on stuff.
When I was growing up, there wasn't any drugs. There was one young lassie who I was probably 16, 17, 18. It was one of those, and you had a wee group you would go down to Charleston, or they would come to yours, and you do the wee parties in the house and all that as well. And she was taking some kind of drugs as well. No idea what, and we tried to help her. It was the first time I come across drugs. But it's kind of accepted in a way now, isn't it?
Socially accepted, yeah.
Absolutely. So if you go out and you're getting bloated, you'll take something to reduce the effects of the alcohol so you can crack on and do what you're doing and all this kind of thing. It's here. How do we deal with it? I'm sure loads of people have got different theories. But the thing being, these people exploit young people. So they get them on their scooters and their bikes and all that and their wee bags, and they'll go around selling it. I was watching a drug deal the other day in Morrison's car park, sitting in my van. And we're sitting there going, oh, watch this.
What age was the person selling
They
drugs?
were hard to see. I don't think they were driving a car.
Oh, okay.
So basically it reversed up the other car and the hands.
I think like the blatantness of like what you see in the town, like the blatantness of it is insane. Because
Well, I saw it in my street. I was looking out the window. This was probably before Christmas, and there was a large car, a big car, sitting down the bottom, and another car just in one of the parking spaces next to my car. And I thought, oh, what's that going on there? And then just out the corner of my eye, this young guy, balaclava on, bag, come up on one of these electric bikes, like a motorbike type, again, the big thick wheel ones, like, yeah. And to the car, like, took stuff out of there, put it in a bag and zipped off that way, and then the two cars went away. And it was, call me naive, I thought, oh, that was a drug deal. But, too late to do anything about it. Would I have done anything about it? I don't know. Would anyone do anything about it? What would be the point? You could phone the police, they're nowhere to be seen. It's long gone and done and dusted, is it my fault for not calling the police? It's accepted now. People do it.
Well, none would happen.
And they're encouraging young
phone the
people.
police, none would happen.
Yeah. No, and they're encouraging young people, and they're the fall guys, aren't they? They're the ones that are going to get nabbed. These people in their big cars and all that. And that's the crying shame about it.
For instance, like, it's a known fact that they call them trap houses and stuff like this. Like, people are coming down from like London, or I've heard from Liverpool and places. Yeah. And the Hotel Maltese, they go into a flat, take over like a vulnerable person's flat and selfie there.
Yeah. That cuckooing type of thing, like, where they'll go in and take over, and it's generally vulnerable people, and they just don't. I've seen it. I've went into people's houses. Part of my role prior to coming back after trying to retire again was going into vulnerable people's homes, dementia or drugs, alcohol, that kind of thing, and trying to make sure that they live safely. And I do remember one person who was cuckooed in Fintry. It was shocking what they did to him. Shocking. I mean, I think he was in his 50s. And you just think, who are these people? Who are these people? The bottom line is they want to sell the drugs, get their money, whatever level they're at, and crack on.
Have you noticed the difference? Like, we tend to describe it when heroin was such a big deal. Heroin was like the main drug that I knew of growing up. Have you noticed the difference between when they've stopped using heroin as much and crack cocaine has took over?
I don't really know, to be honest with you. You probably have. You probably see it far more than me. But I just, to me, it's just that vulnerability of any type of drug.
I think, well, because heroin's like a downer, and obviously this is when we used to see like sleeping zombies walking about and people falling asleep and stuff. More like chilled out, whereas I described to you at one point, like the crack cocaine, when I had my old shop, it was like, in my shop now, it was like a front row seat just to watch so many people die.
Through, yeah.
Yeah, literally, like Declan, who's in the room, not on camera, he would back up. Like, there's numerous people that we've been watching die for years.
What I don't understand is a lot of young people really don't like that. They'll call them everything under the sun.
But that's how they think they're going to make their money.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'll hark back to what do young people think it's going to bring to them? This is what I talk to them about, because I've seen the sofa surfing type of thing, like people who are hard drug users or whatever. And I remember going into someone's flat, just managing to get in. They'd been called by DDARs, like the Dundee Drug and Rehabilitation Group, and it was to go in and support them with this bloke. I never ever, once I spoke to him, I think, I need to go back. I never saw him after that. But basically, I just managed to get in his flat door. There was a washing machine just at the back. Now, that's probably for a particular reason it was there. You couldn't get in, but I managed to. I'm shouting for him, and I could just hear this. So I'm making my way in. I look to the right to the toilet. The toilet is. I wouldn't have put anything in there, like, oh, cheesy peeps, it's up the walls and everywhere in the bath. And I go through, and I managed to get into the living room, and the living room it's just like it's been nuked or something like, and he's sitting there, half the ceiling's down, the kitchen's no any good whatsoever, it's fallen down, and he's got a bucket in the middle of the wee living room bedsit, which is basically his toilet. It's like 3 feet away from where he is. His head is down. And that's the reality of young people starting on drugs and all that as well. That's possibly where you're going to end, and that's why I hate the exploitation of young people. I hate where young people think this is for me. We'll make a bit extra money here and all that as well. And I hate the fact that we didn't have enough cops, we didn't have enough people working with young people, and we didn't have these places where they could go, maybe get a wee bit of support, and maybe find a role model somewhere to just take them away from it. A lot of these times, the role model is the person that's handing them the stuff to go and sell so they can get a few wee quid to do whatever they want to do, and is introducing them to the lighter side of drugs kind of thing,
What you just described there, it sounds like actually if you watch Trainspotting with the boy in the house, and that's the guy that ends up going that way and dying in the house. And to me, that movie should be shown it's 30 years since, and it should be shown to school kids at a very young age, because and just to say, look, this it is just a movie, but it's the way things are going now. And they went like that. They were like that in Edinburgh, they were like that in Dundee, and that room you're describing, the guy sitting in it, sounds like the guy, the fitness guy that starts taking heroin and goes down that road.
I understand what you mean, but the effects of the drugs have changed now. If when they're strung up from crack, they're rattled, they're up. You know what I mean? They're wired, like they're clawing their face. Like, it's different effects, obviously, as drugs. It's eating away the shit either way, but.
Absolutely.
It's
so why are you not doing something about it? Why is when you're saying it's this 1 year or it's up and down in a decade and it's we know, and yet still you're there, you're trying to get people around you, you're talking to counsellors and all that as well, and then it all just fades away.
People lose interest, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. People will come in for their own particular, if we do this, I'll get seen, or that's not the people you want. The people you want is on the ground, working with young people, and just have an absolute aim of wanting that to happen to the young people. Because in the end, they're the future. They're not Dundonians, and we need to look after Dundonians.
Just before we go on to one of your ideas that I do want to support, it's just what you mentioned there. We do need to support that. Like, one of the things, Dundee has the highest drug deaths per person in Europe, right? We need to address that because we're not a big city. And also, problem we're going with it is men's mental health. And I think a lot of it's rooted back to what we said earlier on, is how socially acceptable like drugs are, cocaine is. Like, they're taking it at a young age and it's affecting them, and a lot of people are depressed, they're not happy. Absolutely. We need to tackle these problems because these are problems within the city that is an effect of this. To make this place better, to grow the communities like me and you have been trying to say, we need to tackle all these problems.
Yeah, mental health is huge.
Yeah,
absolutely huge, and a lot of it is through drugs and alcohol and lots of other different things as well. But again, mental services are cut to the bone. I've got family who work in mental health in high positions, and they just want out.
Yeah, no wonder.
They just want out.
No wonder.
We've just cut everything to the bone. And where is always the first place people cut? It's youth services. Youth. Because, let's put in a big school, but we'll shut this and we'll shut that. Because the young people who you'll see, who we'll work with, are no kind of happy going back to school if they're in school during the day. Why would they want to go to school at night? So as much as we've got some fantastic facilities, and we'll have, and they're well used, that's brilliant. It's a really great thing. We've still got a lot of young people who will come to me and say, the first thing they say is there's nothing for that 12 to 16, 13 to 16 age range. So there's nothing. So if they've not got into anything prior to that, maybe a dance class, dancing groups, or, that kind of thing, cadets or BB or scouts or anything, very hard when you get into... Because let's face it, when you're a 13-year-old boy, you're kind of starting to realise there's other things in life.
Yeah, you're like a sponge, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Taking in the world, man, yeah.
So we've nothing really for them, and it's hard to reach them. And this is where we're looking at just now. How do we address this? And everybody... Well, it was actually something in Douglas a while back, and the Dundee East Youth team are amazing. They're brilliant people, absolutely brilliant people. And they, there's a woman called Lucien Carey, who are brilliant. Jim, and you're great as well, and the rest of you, they're all brilliant. Lucien Carey were working with these young girls. And they come along, and they come to something, a community coffee conversation, which used to be called the LCPP. Local Council and Public, whatever, can't remember now. Anyway, and they get together, so members of the community, maybe councillors, and invested, interested in the community. Mm-hmm. And they got the girls to give a wee presentation. And the question was, what's lacking in your community? And that's what they said, something for us. Our age range, we need to do something for our age range. But I think, Chris, these days, it's not just a case of the council provides.
Yeah.
These days are gone.
We've found that out.
With no money.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Okay, so we need to accept that in a certain way. We can fight against it, absolutely, but we need to accept that where we are now is the council have no money, and they'll blame the Scottish government, and the Scottish government will blame Westminster government. Westminster government will probably blame God or so. There's always blaming somebody else. Nobody wants to damn well do anything about it. So I think where we need to be boxed cleverly now is we need something that's sustained, that is longevity. Mm-hmm. And what do we do? So we need to discuss that. But we need to bring the young people on board to see what they want. But we also need to challenge them. How do we sustain this? How do you play your part? I think at that age now, you've got to stop thinking that you just come along, do what you want and shove off. You've got to maybe be part of that, to look at how you can help keep that alive for the next lot coming around. That's going to be the difficult thing.
That is, but if we could put pride back into it, you know what I mean? Like
pride in your community, pride in yourself, pride in your city, pride. Yeah, absolutely. And let's face it, Dundee is an amazing city.
Yeah,
it is. I mean, it's got 4 main corridors into it. The best one, obviously, being coming across the Tay Road Bridge.
Best,
I mean, you lift when you see that, don't you?
Yeah,
you do. Especially now the multis, a lot of the multis are over there, a little bit. Anyway, no. And that remember the prison they used to have, they used to call, what was that hotel they used to call it? Looked like a prison as you were coming over. Thank God they got rid of that.
The Hilton.
The Hilton, yeah.
That's
God,
it. Yeah.
All right, the water.
So, yeah.
I thought you were on about the Mars ship.
I was not. The unicorn, yeah. So there's a lot of great things going on in Dundee, and the councillors over the years and the people of Dundee have built this up. V&A and all these things, whatever you think of the V&A, it's an international institution, and people come from far and wide to that.
So there's great potential here that is unfolded.
There's huge potential. Let's get that Eden project going, and let's get the Unicorn set up. Let's get the Dundee Motor Museum going. Let's get behind all these people, because all these groups here can help young people as well. So the Dundee Motor Museum, you think, well, how can they help young people? Well, if they move up to the new, and I was talking to someone the other day,
my mum's
if they move up to that, they can maybe get a group of young volunteers that could come in and maybe learn about mechanics or and cleaning and lots of different things as well.
Opens up avenues.
The Unicorn, absolutely. Opening up the avenues, thinking differently. And the schools do invest time in that as well. But I think we could do a whole lot more. And we can actually lead. I think Dundee could be that city in Scotland that leads on a lot of things.
That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm seriously hoping. Yeah, we'll get the backing of it.
Yeah.
Just one last thing before we end it. I'll not go too much into it, but we have an idea, basically, we just spoke about, where we're going to try and create a web across the city.
Yeah.
But the main part for your idea in your community is the building where the hub was.
Yeah, so To understand, in my community, like, so we've got the Friends of Lunlathan and the Craigie little group going on, and we try to get people to take pride in their community. And we had a hub, which was a library and a lot of other things as well. And out of that hub, there was a food larder, a free cycle thing with clothing and all that as well. They've shut that down now because, okay, fair enough, we've now got the Greenfield, and the community bit in that as well.
Like you said earlier on, Ford, who wants to go?
Absolutely, yeah. And we're not going to be putting food ladders in the school and all that as well. That's not going to happen. So, what the council we've worked together on this, and we've got a great big metal container, and half of it's going to be free cycle. So half of it's going to be food ladder, and half of it's going to be a community toolbox run for the guys at the Wellgate, which is going to be an amazing thing as well.
Dave Cowan and Co. the Wellbeing Centre.
The top, yeah. So we're going to facilitate that, and hopefully going to get it up and running by May. We just need volunteers. But the hub sits empty at the bottom of Pitcairn Road. So what I'm asking for is I'm looking for lots of different people who might want to go in there, help sustain it, but take groups into it as well at various times, whatever, elderly groups, young groups, any kind of group, a walking group. They're going to put £10 million into the decay regeneration, completely regenerate that for Baldivie right the way up to Ardler. And it's going to be an amazing project. But what they're also looking for is groups that can help sustain it. See, this is the difference. There's no point in doing a parachute in and run out the door. This is the thing I got for the fire when I started in the community years ago. That's all we did. If there was an issue, you went to the school, gave them a talk and shoved off. You really need to drill it down and look for the young people who actually get involved in all that and build up relationships. That's the key to everything. The relationship building between the community and the young people. You know, if you get that severed, you're on a hiding to nothing. And that's where it goes pear-shaped into everything, not just drugs, but all types of antisocial behaviour. So if we can get that hub up and running in some form that we can then offer it to young people as well, fantastic, amazing. I'm also part of the sort of the Midland Daycare Centre, and we're looking to knock that down and rebuild as well. Part of that will be a bit for the community. Dundee Rugby Club are looking to advance their community things as well. We were talking to that young lady the other day.
Yeah.
And
Leah,
I couldn't remember there. I'm sure I'd met her before. I said, I've met you before. Anyway, again, they're looking to do communities. So it's connecting in.
Yeah, it's better.
So there's no point in opening up the hub if Midland are doing something, if you've got Brooks Band. We all need to be doing something to support the community, but not overlap.
Yeah, no.
That's why we connect. Fairfield Sports are doing something just along as well. So that's just in the Lunlathan and Mid-Craigie area. We've got the yard up the road. There's loads of things going on. If we can connect it all, that's got to be an amazing thing.
Get it together like a clock and get it all running smooth.
That web that you're talking about, and then you take it over around about. So let's look at what's available in the communities and say, right, well, how do we adapt to that? So if you've got, we've got the Five-Way Centre down the bottom of Caird
Avenue, yeah.
You know, so that's not open tonight or weekends. So what can they do? So approach them as well. Approach others in the community around the city and say, look, what can you do for the young people in your community? It's not going to be easy. It will not be easy. But if we've got an idea of how to engage with them, and we can get that supported by the youth teams in Dundee, the council and that as well, and perhaps looking at other avenues, maybe employing people to do that as well, is that no kind of a good thing? Is that no building on what we've got in the uniformed youth services, the BBs and all that, the dance classing, the dancing, the stage academies, all the wonderful things that we've got across Dundee? There's still a group of young people that we're not connecting with. We know where they are, we know who they are, why we're not doing something about it in a good, positive way.
We've run out of time, bro, but like this is why I wanted to get you on. I wanted to give a start, give you your props, and I wanted everybody to know that you were on my team. You know
Absolutely,
what I mean?
Because
I think this has explained that far better than I ever would. But this is the idea, and this is what we're trying to do. So thanks for coming along, Kev. Man, it's been a pleasure.
Loved it. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah.
And we'll see. Like you say, we keep fighting, do we? So
it's a fight to be fought, and we're going to do it.
Yeah, therefore. So this is not a starting point, but this is where we are. Let's see where we are in 6 months.
Absolutely.
So this has been the Dundee Show podcast, episode 10. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a beautiful day.